Now, thousands of people have taken to the streets in Cuba to protest against the desperate economic crisis in the country's biggest protest for decades. Severe shortages and soaring prices have been made even worse by the pandemic and by the long-standing US trade embargo. But crowds on this scale have not been seen since Fidel Castro took power in 1959. The Castro family dominated Cuba's leadership until earlier this year, when Raul Castro stepped down as head of the Communist Party. Minnie Stevenson reports.
Rarely do you see such open dissent in Cuba and on this scale, and yet they came out in their thousands, chanting freedom and down with the dictatorship in the largest protest seen here in 3 decades.
We are here because of the repression against the people. They're starving us to death. Havana is collapsing. We have no house, we have nothing. But they have money to build hotels and they leave us starving.
Starting in Havana, but soon spreading throughout Cuba. Protesters were angry, but it began peacefully, demonstrating against the government's handling of the pandemic. A recent rise in COVID cases has only exacerbated the worst economic crisis on the island in 30 years. The Trump administration having already hit Cuba with more than 200 sanctions. But the atmosphere quickly turns as plainclothes police officers began to beat protesters.
The people came out to express themselves freely, and they are being repressed and beaten, and that's unacceptable. We will not allow them to beat them.
While many try to live stream the protests on social media, the president interrupts all TV channels to broadcast his version.
We had been observing that in the last couple of weeks, a social media campaign against the Cuban revolution has increased. It's created dissent and dissatisfaction by manipulating the emotions and feelings of people on social media. All those issues that are present in our society now, such as dissatisfaction, what are their origins? What's caused them? It's the US blockade.
The president came out onto the streets with the intention of calming protesters. Instead, the anger over a shortage of vaccines is undeniable. Since the pandemic, Cubans wearily have to wait in line for hours just to buy essentials. COVID has overwhelmed the free healthcare system here and paralysed tourism, one of the engines of the Cuban economy. The protests of this younger generation are different. Social media is offering an alternative version of events to the state's storyline.